Inscription of HaREMHEBI. I the Harmachis, the living sun, the powerful bull, maturing plans. Lord of the vulture and Pharaoh's diadem, chief of the treasures in Thebes, the hawk of gold delighting in truth engendering the world. King of Upper and Lower Egypt, Lord of the two countries Ra-Tex-Eper-Yusat-Pen-Ra, son of the sun, Lord of diadems HaREMHEBI, beloved of Amen, Ha, Lord of the palace, good God. Apostrophe Kamutf, Amen-Ra, King of the gods, nursed him Ha-Sas, protected in the rear of his HMBS. He proceeded from the belly of Tebemsaf, a divine shape in it his name he made. He has been laid on the arm as a child, he protected the land from the great to the little, he carried to it food and aliment. He is a youth, he has no prejudice of mankind, a divine type in his shape too. Behold, victorious form of his father Horus. He placed him before him, he created him for the protection of his race, bringing up all letting him know the day when he was at peace, he gave him his kingdom, for that God appointed his son in the face of mankind, he delighted to enlarge the breadth of his step when he proceeded, the day of his receiving his title, he gave his reign, in face of the king at rest in his property, rejoicing in his election, he placed him at the gate of the country to conduct the numerous laws of the country as prince, heir apparent of this town like him, one alone without a second, the plans of men which came out of his mouth addressed before the prince of the palace, he went along to the opposition against him, he answered the king, that which came out of his mouth daily pleased him, the gracious one, not apostrophe all his plans in the steps of the ibis god, his penetration the type of the Lord of Heza, exulting in his rights like Teti, ravished at them like Da, watching the morning, his things belonging to him, giving his property, treading in its path, it makes his protection on earth for the length of eternity. Lo, it was to him to direct the two countries for a time of many years, he appointed id the principal persons submissive to the royal house. The chiefs of the 9 bow barbarians the south and north came to him, their hands spread out at his turnings back. They adored him like a god, all things done were performed according to his orders. At his approach, the great fear of him was in the face of mankind, entreating of him health and strength, he opened his mouth, father of millions of perfect propositions of divine gifts to conduct. Passing by them, the approved son of Horus, as a superior authority as prince of this country like him. Follow at him this noble god Horus, lord of the palace, his heart delighted, establishing his son on his throne forever he ordered. Of the house of Amen, Horus passed in exaltation to you as, the city of Nebuchadnezzar his son on his breast to Thebes that he should be crowned in presence of Amen, that he should confer on him his title of king, to make his time, lo, crowned in his good festival, dwelling in southern Apit. The majesty of that god Horus, lord of the palace, beheld his son with him, as king he was shown, he gave him his title and throne. Lo, at it Amen-Ra was penetrated with joy, he saw apostrophe the day, he made his peace offerings, he brought them to the chief, the heir apparent, residing in the two lands HaREMHEBI. He went forth to the palace, he placed them before him at the great shrine of his very noble daughter. In honor, she united together his beautiful decorations, she placed them before him. The circle of the gods, lords of the abode of fire rejoiced at his crowning Nisham, Uati, Nit, Isis, Nephthys, Horus, Set, and the circle of the gods, all together dwelling in the great seat. Proclamations to the exaltation of Nut. Rejoicing to the rest of Amen, for may Amen let his son come before him to the temple to place his crown on his head, to elevate his period of life like him. Our images we placed to him, we gave him the decorations of the sun, we glorify Amen on account of him. Thou hast brought us our support. Give to him the triaquinterides of the sun, the years of Horus as king. He has done all thy pleasure in Apit, like Heavenson, and Harkat are, he ennobled them. Beautiful is the great name of that good God. He is entitled like the majesty of the sun, Harmach is the powerful bull, great in plans. Lord of the vulture and Dirk-Bus diadem, great in treasures in Apit, the golden hawk, pleasing in truth, the engenderer of two lands Ratzakhepu approved of the son of the sun Haremhebi beloved of Amen, giver of life, proceeding to the front of the house of the sun in the palace of the majesty of that noble God Amen king of the gods, his son before him. He united together his beautiful decorations, crowned in the helmet, for he conferred on him the circuit of the disk, the 9 barbarians were under his sandals, heaven was in a festival, the 2 countries rejoicing, the circle of the 9 gods of the Tamera, their hearts were diluted. Lo at him created beings in joy cried to heaven above. Great and little, they carried their joy throughout the whole earth. They rejoiced upon the celebration of this festival of the dweller in southern Thebes Amen-Ra king of the gods, coming in peace to you as his majesty went sailing as the image of Harmach is, for lo he took possession of that land. He obtained it for the time of the Sunday. He repaired the temples of the gods from Xtata to the land of Tikans. He chiseled the tears of us all, each one as before, in good truth, for he did things the sun rejoiced to see them. The destroyed of former times he transported them to the house of his making, conducted by the guardians of all tribes, appointed with all noble stones. He sought the cities of the gods, which are in the places of that land. He possessed them as they were in times primeville, he augmented to them divine offerings provided daily, all the vessels of their temples, gilded with gold and silver. He prepared them with the priests and spondists, with the elite of his army he appointed for them fields and herds prepared with all things. They were timed for the worship of the sun. Every morning, thou hast been announced to us the kingdom of thy son doing thy will. Ratakpi approved of the Sunday. Give thou him millions of triicontorides, give thou his powers over all lands, like Harsisi, for he has given satisfaction to thy heart Inan, united to the circle of thy gods. Horus son of Isis. Heliopolis,